that we used to do back in the days.
What's up, people?
What up, though?
What up?
What's up, Detroiters? Welcome to
The People Mover Podcast.
where every week we discuss things from current events to relationships, love, life lessons, and much, much more.
We explore the power of social connection through conversation. We literally want to
Move the people. Welcome to episode 2.
Two.
Woo! We made it.
We made it. Another week.
Exactly. We have a special guest today. We have
My name is Perry James.
Perry
Okay.
James today on the podcast.
Yes, I am.
Yes, we
Hello, what up, though? What up? What
The
up?
first
what up?
guest, actually.
First guest. That's crazy.
yeah,
you know?
it's both your hosts here. This is Miracle.
My name is Miracle, and this is
Co-host Malcolm. Okay.
And you can find us on the People Mover pod.
Yeah.
We'll keep our ads below.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Perry, tell us about yourself, my friend.
You're also from Detroit as well.
Yes,
Detroit
I'm from
native.
Detroit native.
Whoop.
You know, I started off on the west side, grew up on the west side. Now I live on the east side. Been an east side person ever since I turned 18.
Okay.
You know, I play drums, I do music, you know, I do philosophy, and I also grow mushrooms. I do conscious work in the community, you know, real healing type work. So,
Exactly.
you know,
A little bit of everything.
you know,
almost.
I got a real diverse book.
Right, exactly. Which is honestly a good metaphor for the city of Detroit.
Heard that nigga say them psychedelics though too. You know.
Right,
We're
exactly.
breaking
For
the
sure.
fourth wall a lot today.
For
so
sure.
Just buckle up.
Right, and then you play drums, but you play drums for a big team.
I do play drums for the Lions, you know.
Damn.
Yeah, I won. I auditioned and I got it.
Yeah, so
and-
when did you tell us a little bit about the process and how you even got into it.
First of all, I've done music my whole life, and I've always been good at it. Like, I was section leader every drum line I've ever been in.
I can attest to that.
You know, I've been top dog. You know, I went to Tennessee State. I played snare drum. You know,
So you played in band in Tennessee.
Yes, I
So you
played-
went to school in Tennessee
Yeah.
and Detroit.
Yes.
Okay.
I got a scholarship. I went to Detroit School of Arts. Got a scholarship to go to Tennessee State. Went to Tennessee State for a couple years. Played snare. Was in a big marching band at TSU. It was a big thing. It was live. Shout out to the Aristocratic Band.
Shout out to marching band.
Yeah, you know. And marching band got a lot of people, you know, out the hood. You know, gave people opportunities that they would never be able to get.
Yeah.
So, you
I
know.
feel like that's an underrated profession for
It is.
quote unquote getting out the hood, because it's always like athletes versus rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look,
It's like join the band.
join the band. Join the band. It's fun. It's teach you discipline. It teaches you music, and it teaches you a lot about life in general. So you know.
I'm gonna interject a lot because Perry is actually my man's for real. Like, this is my nigga for
my
real.
boy. My
And so
boy.
I can kind of got a backdrop on a lot of the shit that he's saying. These are my niggas, and like, I'm not a stoner, but these niggas are real stoners. Like, I would never claim to be, but he is that. Like, when they went down to college, we were talking about it earlier. These niggas actually crossed a smoking fraternity. Some shit I didn't even know existed.
I didn't even know that existed.
Shout out
either.
Purple Phi Haze. Shout out
Purple Phi Haze.
Wait, how
I
long
had
have
to
you
say
guys-
so y'all can understand that this is a real thing. This ain't
Shout
no way
out
to
P5.
How long have you guys known each other? When did you meet?
We met in like high school.
We met in high school, probably like 9th, 10th grade.
10th grade.
And how old
Yeah,
are you?
I'm 29.
Yeah, it was class 2013.
Class
Ooh,
2013.
You know what I'm saying? Same
Yeah,
year.
he didn't go to my school, but
Yeah,
he
I
was
went to
up there
Renaissance,
every
yeah.
day. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Just
What happened
there?
was I went to Detroit Edison, and I was in like Eastern Market, and most of my friends from middle school, when we graduated and went to high school, they went to DSA. I went to Renaissance, but I was always at DSA performances, you know, so every time I was backstage fucking with them so much to the point, they like, they had different departments in their school, so a lot of times people would see me be like, do he go here?
Right.
I don't never see this nigga. And I'm like, I don't go here, but I'll be up here all the time.
Yeah, DSA is amazing. My sister graduated from DSA when we moved
Type
from
shit.
Texas here. So
Where?
Where?
What year?
What year? 2017. She's a 2000s baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's dope.
So you went to DSA here. You went to Tennessee to play drums, and then you were like, I'm actually kind of good at this shit.
Yeah, like, it's always been my passion to be a drummer. Like, my Instagram, I've been telling people this for forever. Like, my Instagram name is 2_ pot banger. And a lot of people think that has to do with weed because I smoke weed, But my sister
It's
plays
legal
cello.
here.
Right, it's legal. It's legal. It's very legal. But my sister plays cello, and like as an insult, she would call me a pot banger. So like, because as a kid I used to bang on the pots, like trying to play drums. So I changed that to my Instagram name, and a lot of people think it's because I smoke weed.
Got it out the
but
mud,
it's
shit.
really because I used to bang on pots.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God. So when did you move back? So you only went to Tennessee for college,
yes,
and then you moved back to the city,
yes.
and then you were still drumming after school.
See, I kind of got away from my drumming for a long time because of music, like life just got in the way, like bills, gotta go to work, XYZ. So
Literally.
my drumming kind of took a back seat, but like within the last 2 years, I've been like helping out my high school drumline and stuff. And one day I got a call from my man's Thomas. Shout out Thomas. That's
Shout
my
out
boy.
Thomas.
That's my boy. But he like, hey bro, you want to play drums for the Lions? I'm like, of course. Like, yeah, duh. I want to play drums for the Lions. So
When was this?
you said what?
When was this?
This was probably like last year.
Okay.
And and I was thinking, I'm like, okay, well I'm not gonna be able to do it till next year. So I auditioned. I had to send in a video. I had to write a paper. I had to. It was like 3 rounds of cuts, and I made it all the way to the end. So I just tried something, and it worked, and it was like, all right, cool, and this is a great opportunity, and I like it, and it's fun.
Now them free tickets. Do y'all got them on deck or that's
See,
that's
they
like
playing.
family? That's like family only.
They
Is that like
playing.
family only?
Look, everybody, the
I
Lions
need
is
to
going
know.
up.
Them niggas actually good now.
The Lions
Yeah,
is
'cause
going
we
Niggas
were
ain't been able to say
saying-
that ever.
Right.
Like, this niggas
They
60 to be
going
like, to say last episode, like, the Lions almost won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Could have won the Super Bowl. I'm like,
literally.
what? Until they even say that, it sounds like I'm living in a parallel universe.
Yeah. And I was saying how I'm not even into sports, and since I moved here when I was 18, I'm like about to be 26, and I'm like, I've never heard about the Lions doing good.
Louis Harrington, John Kittner,
Yeah, right.
some very, very tough times. That's why I'm like, this niggas that's born in the '60s who can never say, yeah, the Lions gonna go to Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now you was asking them all the corporate questions about the Lions and school. I'm gonna ask about the psychedelic shit because
What's
there's somebody
up? We
out
can
there.
get there.
There's
We can
somebody
go
out there
there right
that ain't
now.
never
Well,
did
yeah.
shrooms before. Got questions, and I got
Well,
this nigga is a shaman. Okay,
Right.
this nigga didn't. This nigga
I
the
travel the
Avatar,
astral
okay?
plane. I ain't gonna
That
lie. I
nigga takes
definitely
frequent
do.
trips to the
I
astral
definitely
realm,
do.
the astral plane, breaking the fourth wall, the third eye, all of that shit. So we answer any
into
question. So
that.
to anybody out there watching and they want to know about taking psychedelics like shrooms, DMT, all of that stuff, try to break down your experience with that, how you got into it, and then tell us has that changed you as a person getting into psychedelics?
Okay, well,
But first, though,
What's
before
that?
you even got into spirituality, like, what is your religious background, and how did you tap into spirituality versus
okay,
religion?
because it all ties together. It all ties
Yeah, of
together. Like
course.
my whole life
about to go
story,
there.
it all ties together.
It's about to go there.
It's about to go down.
So like I grew up in the church, I went to church. I played drums in the church.
Sunday right now.
Shout out to Oak Grove AME, African Methodist Episcopal. Shout out to Oak Grove. So I grew up in the church, and I didn't really change my views until I got to college. Like I went to college, and it just totally blew my mind open. The fact that like really truly the thing that first woke me up was I took an African American studies class. And I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, so you trying to tell me we not just niggas? Like, you trying to tell
There's
me
more to
black
this
people
than this?
have history? And,
Right,
like, we have a
exactly.
lot of history, and we shape the world? And you trying to tell me that we're not just niggas? Like, and people in Africa aren't just like, blah, blah, how they try to paint the picture here. It's like, no, we have a diverse culture of
Yeah.
significance to the world. And
No,
I
I
was
agree.
ignorant of that fact all the way up until college. Like, I truly was. Like, so I got to college. I took the African American Studies class. It was fun. And, like, me doing music, Like we'd be out practicing in the band, like the sun baking our skin. We out there just.
Band is like
I know
you're
how it is.
out in the sun for
Oh,
hours.
yeah,
I was
for
in
sure.
marching band.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, it was like a sport.
Worse than a
almost.
sport. them football players ain't got no conditioning on.
Right, literally, they're fine.
Niggas doing 90s out there.
Oh yeah.
Hood. Niggas out there hitting
Swear.
them bitches.
Right. So yeah, I was in Tennessee, and so it was this place. It was like this store. It was like a bookstore down the street from Tennessee, and I swear, like I never was into spirituality. Nothing my whole life. Like I never even heard of spirituality. Never heard of a chakra, a third eye, or if I did, I thought it was of the devil. And
Right.
it's like, I thought
And
it
that's
was
that Christian background.
Yeah.
Me
I thought
too.
it was of the devil until like I dived in and I'm like, wow, well, it says a lot of things about this in the actual Bible, and
Yeah.
it's we're gonna get there later.
It's a whole other
But
topic.
Yeah. But so it was a bookstore. I'm in the bookstore, and I swear my back was turned, and I heard this book. It was a book. It called out to me. I'm not.
That
even
nigga
gonna lie.
found that shit like Doctor Strange.
The
That
book
nigga-
called out to me. I swear to
That
God.
nigga found that shit like Doctor Strange when he fucked his hands up.
Ask Zay. Zay was there. Zay
Yo,
was there.
of course,
He's
Zay,
at
of course, Zay was
sources,
there.
Zay.
I hope Zay
Who-
was
The
there.
book was $80. The book was
Oh my
$80.
God.
Like the book was expensive. It was a big book, and so I'm like, and it was on this wall of like all like crazy books that I would never ever think of opening up. Like,
He
oh my
said that
God,
bitch called his name.
Yeah,
Like the
it
Green
did.
Goblin
I
mask.
swear to God, it
Nigga.
called me. I swear to God.
So you bought the book for $80.
I didn't even have the money. I didn't even have the money.
So
I had,
how'd you
I
get
had
the
to
money?
sit there and like change my money from
That
my
nigga
savings to
haggled.
my blah
Oh,
blah
there
blah
was-
XYZ.
That's serious.
So I got
I've
the
never
book.
heard this story. This is hilarious.
Yeah, so I got the book, and it was just talking about a whole bunch of things that I've never thought about. Like, it was saying stuff like, okay, chakras, like, what is a chakra? Going into like, what is meditation? What is this? What is that? All these spiritual topics. What is Kundalini? What are all these things? And I'm like, So I get the book, and I'm reading this book. It's big, thick book. I'm reading it. I'm like, this shit is crazy as
Right,
hell.
deep
Like,
in this.
This shit is crazy. So people was thinking I was crazy because I was reading the book all the time. Like, I was really reading this fucking
Like
book.
it was the Bible.
Like,
That nigga had the
damn
Dr.
near,
Umar
yeah, I
pamphlet.
swear. So it was talking about meditation, a lot of advanced topics that I never heard of before. So,
And there is a difference between learning something and then putting it into practice.
Right.
Like you can have all the knowledge, but if you're not doing the action, like it's not the same power.
And that's how I got into psychedelics. Because, okay, so I'm learning all this stuff about
Now we
chakras,
get
blah,
into
blah,
it.
blah. I'm like, okay, well, I want to astral project. I'm trying to
for you.
astral
Whoever
project.
wants to know about some shroom shit,
I'm
here
trying
you
to
go. It's coming.
meditate. I'm trying to open my third eye. I'm trying
Yeah.
to, and I'm sitting there meditating. I'm going vegan. I'm sitting there meditating my whole blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. Oh, I was lucid dreaming. All
Oh my
that
god,
stuff.
I used to lucid dream as well.
Yeah.
Like I full on controlled my
yeah.
dreams. I would
See
tell
your
people.
shadows in my room.
Lucid dreaming is
That's a
Sick.
dope song. Called
Yeah.
Lucid Dream.
So yeah, so I'm learning all this stuff about chakras, third eye. I'm like, okay, well I'm meditating, ain't nothing happening. I'm like, all right, okay. I close my eyes, I'm seeing black. I'm like, all right, ain't nothing
That nigga
really
was just sitting in the
happening.
dark.
You know,
That
I was
nigga
just
said, "Ain't nothing
sitting.
happening. What's happening?"
I'm like, all right, this is cool, but I'm not gonna say that because meditation, doesn't have to have it's
Yeah.
about mindfulness and about like opening your mind and thinking about what you're supposed to be, not thinking. And we think so much that like when we don't think, it's foreign to our bodies.
Exactly. You really can't
Yeah,
shut your mind
right.
off. It's not even a thing.
Right, but you have to pour out your cup in order for it to be filled up.
For sure.
So I'm thinking about all this stuff. So yeah, they like, yeah, well you need to open your third eye. You need to decalcify your pineal gland is what they saying. You need to
We getting into them
decalcify your
So
terms
you
now.
started
Yeah.
meditating
We
because
getting
that
into them terms
meditation
now.
is a thing they use in like healthcare as well.
Right, because
know?
it has a physical effect on the body.
Right.
So it's like,
And it wasn't working, and you were like, "Fuck this."
right.
shit.
I mean, it was working, but I'm like,
Okay.
I know it has to be more.
Right.
I'm like, it has to be more. So they like, yeah, well, when you start decalcifying your pineal gland, your body, your third eye, your pineal gland will start to secrete this thing called DMT. I'm like, what the fuck is DMT? I'm like, what the hell is that?
there.
Like, blah, 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 X,
We
Y,
getting
Z.
there.
So, they like, yeah, well, DMT is this thing where if you smoke it, it's 15 minutes and you go out your body and blah, blah, blah. It's only 15 minutes. And I'm like,
And what is the science about DMT anyway? Like, what is it?
Well,
It gives a breakdown.
Okay, well, DMT is found all throughout nature. Like, it's found in the trees, it's found in your lungs. All of our lungs right now are producing DMT as we speak. Like, it's part of the body.
I'm learning this
like,
shit.
It's part of the body. So DMT is found everywhere, but the DMT that I use is different kinds of DMT also. So you have NN-DMT.
Y'all gonna have to buy the course.
You have 5-MeO-DMT. That's the toad. If you ever heard Mike Tyson talk about the toad, like that's the 5-MeO-DMT. But it's basically a chemical that defies physics, defies nature, defies everything. And scientists right now are trying to do everything they can to try to figure this shit out.
Right.
So it's like, and mind you, this is nothing new. Like, DMT has been around for thousands of years.
I mean,
Like,
you have it in you.
right.
So,
Well,
So, yeah.
There's a tree in Africa called the acacia tree. And in the like, you know, in Black Panther, when he was talking to his ancestors under that tree, when he took the stuff, he took the stuff and he laid down, and then he went to the ancestral realm and he talked to his parents under the tree.
Yeah.
That tree is the acacia tree, and the acacia tree is the quote unquote tree of knowledge. And why is it the tree of knowledge? You ask yourself this, like, why do they call it tree of knowledge? Well, I personally believe it's because the roots of the acacia tree have concentrated DMT in them. And when you access that and you open your third eye for real, and you have what's called a breakthrough experience, like, because you could do it all you want, but unless you break through, you're not going to get the full benefit. So, like I said, I'm meditating, nothing is happening, blah, 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 XYZ. I'm like, I know it's got to be more. So they talking about DMT. Okay, well, I'm like, well, where can I get some DMT? I was looking for DMT for years. So I'm like, all right, let me make this stuff myself. Let me get in the lab myself. Let me get me some of this, this sacred tree.
Go ahead,
what's up?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
No. So I'm like, shit, let me try to make this shit myself, blah, blah, blah. So I sourced some of the acacia tree root bark, acacia confusa root bark. And I ain't gonna tell nobody, but if I have a daughter, I'm gonna name her Acacia. You know, it's a lot of people name Acacia.
That's a nice, pretty name, Acacia.
But Acacia is the tree of knowledge. Like, look this, fact check me. Everybody fact check me. I'm trying to tell you.
I don't even got to. I believe the nigga.
Actively fact check me. So how did I get to doing this? I'm like, all right, well, I can't find none. Let me learn how to make it. The mushrooms was cool until I had a real DMT trip. Then I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is what I've been looking for. It's like, it's really
He says
that.
15 minutes?
It's really
That
that.
nigga said it's the dragster.
It's really that.
It's
really
the
that.
mother. He's real quick, but you was not the same.
You're not, because
It's
it's
not
like,
the same.
bro, when you go out of your body, where are you? Like, if your
Who are
consciousness leaves your body, where are you? Who are you? It raises
What are
more
you?
questions than, like, XYZ. So, yeah. So, boom. I'm like, what is this? I'm gonna get it. And so, long story short, I sourced it myself. I made it myself. And it's what I noticed is the trip started while I was making it. Like, that's when the whole thing started. Like,
Right.
and to sit there and perceptualize that, like, your trip starts when you start making it. It's like, that shows that it goes beyond space and time. So, boom,
Exactly.
boom, boom, XYZ. I make it, and it's like a fucking... It's like a 30-step process. I did every single step. And when I got to the last step, it looked like what it was supposed to look like. I'm like, all right, cool. So, well, how do I do this? I've never done this before.
Right.
So, like, how am I going to do this? So, I'm like, all right, cool. So, I ended up smoking in the bong. And my first time, I'm like, that was cool. It was like, I'm like, all right, that's cool. So, I'm like, all right, well, I did it. So, a couple days later go by, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it again. That second time...
That nigga broke through.
That second time
broke
was
through.
insane. It's no words for it. It's like it's an amazingly terrifying experience, because it's like and let me preface this: psychedelics are not for everybody.
No.
They're not for everybody.
Right.
If you have issues going on with your your subconscious mind, if you got unresolved issues, they can help you resolve those, but you have to be willing to put in that work and to be open enough and receptive enough to actually do what you're supposed to do.
Right, and that's where action comes into play. So how did you dabble from like religion to spirituality?
Well, from religion to spirituality, like I kind of use a lot of religion in my spirituality because like I believe things from different religious backgrounds, and you know I incorporate that into what I do. Like so like I have Bible verses for days.
Right.
Like I have Bible verse for days. This is all of the Lord. Like this is all good.
The Lord brought everything that we have on this earth.
Hello. So this is all of the Lord. But the thing about it is though, if somebody sees the things that I be seeing, they could possibly think that, oh, this is of the devil, blah blah blah, off of first glance. However, when you get in that space where you're interacting with this energy, it's foreign to you. So naturally, because it's foreign, you're gonna be afraid of it.
Right.
But you have to test the spirit, and that's what they say. You got to test the spirit.
And when you read stuff like what you read, like, and you are like, oh, I want to get to this point, you have to fully embrace the good, the bad, the scary.
Yes.
Like, throw me in this shit, you know?
I got some good stories. I got some bad stories, too. We ain't want bad stories.
I must say, science already proved astral projection is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, they already trying to map the shit out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the shit's real. You know what I'm saying? There's people out there trying to do psychedelics that, like, you know, people on the fence. When I did them again, I was like, I tried to make sure I was in a good headspace, good environment, you know, and it was a good experience. It was a good experience. A lot of people we hear have bad experiences. They did them in a random place at a party, or they was out. You know, it's like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you do it?
What it's for.
Every time I talk to Perry, he be like,
that Jeremiah, bro.
Huh? What's that again?
But can I pour some? Okay, let me that Jeremiah.
No.
Every time I
talk to Perry about taking like a shroom trip or anything, he be like, bro, when you do it, you just gotta sit there and close your eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't never do that when I'm
secret.
off anything. I be looking at shit. He like, no, bro, you gotta close your eyes. That's how you activate this shit. I'm like, oh, see, I'm not activated. I ain't broke through. You feel me? Perry really a shaman. He really been on the astral plane for real. Met niggas.
Right.
Niggas that met niggas.
I've met
he wasn't
non-human
alone.
intelligence plenty times.
Well, right.
You feel me?
Well, when you're being still, you can feel everything and really open like your senses.
Peace be
you know what I
still.
mean?
No
Peace
lie.
be still. Be still and know there's God, or whatever they say in the
It's
Bible.
easier said than done, because I ain't making frequent trips to the. How often do you make trips to the astral plane?
How often do I take trips? Not that often, cause like I since I'm like the plug, a lot of people come to me all the time. I'm like, damn, you doing shrooms again? You shouldn't be doing shrooms like this. This shouldn't be this often. Like, shrooms is not a thing that you do often. It's like
Educators.
And if you do it often, that's how you know you're not having any meaningful trips. You're not doing anything that's actually, because when you actually have those trips.
He said, y'all niggas is crackheads.
Nah,
y'all niggas out there doing shrooms every day.
If you
Yeah,
doing,
it's more
fuck
like
is
a
wrong with y'all,
spiritual
man?
drug for sure. It also could be like, I'm sure like any other drug, I'm sure you can do anything like as a quote unquote party drug.
Right.
Like I know people who are like, oh, I need to get high to like go before I go to a party, and I'm like, is weed even in the fucking party drug? It's also like spiritual.
Right, yeah,
if you want it to be.
Weed is definitely spiritual.
So yeah.
Okay, well, we could talk about that too, because weed. All right, now look, I ain't never said this, but for me personally, weed was a gateway drug for me in the best way possible.
Damn dare.
It was.
Damn
I'm
dare.
gonna say it. Weed was a gateway drug for me. It definitely was. It was, but in a good way though. In a good way. For instance, I was smoking weed in high school, and I'm like, dang. I was smoking some weed. I'm like, damn, why is this shit illegal? Dang. So then I started looking at the police different. Like, you trying to tell me y'all gonna throw me in jail for smoking a blunt? Like,
that shit everywhere.
That's kind of crazy.
Also, I was gonna make a comment about your religion to spirituality journey, because I'm like, in religion, like you're not allowed to feel anything else except one thing.
Right.
You know, it's like the one and the only. And when you're spiritual, you go through so many different like mediums and so many different like gods and feelings and emotions. Like how do you where do you stand and stuff like that?
Okay, well, for like when I talk about, so go back to DMT. Sometimes religion, like sometimes I do a trip, it'll be a Egyptian trip. Sometimes I do a trip, it'll be a Mesoamerican trip. Sometimes I do a trip, it'll be an Aztec trip. Sometimes I do a trick, it'll be... One time, I did see a cross. I saw what's called a Rosicrucian cross. If you look it up, pull it up, a Rosicrucian cross. But that was the first thing I saw. It was like a cross that was made out of light and colors, but it was like ornamental. Like it had like stuff on it. But it was very ornate and it had a lot of jewels and it was shining like light. But that was like the first thing I saw that like started my trip. So I have seen like I've seen symbology from a lot of different religions, like Mayan, not Mayan, Indian, like the Shaktis and the Shivas, the Egyptian people, you know, Horus, because I'm Haru. I didn't even say that. So I am Haru, House of Haru mycology. You know, Haru is the sun god Horus. That's his real name. Haru. That's what I go by. That's like my nickname. That's my ascension name. My real name is Perry, but that's the name my mama gave me. But my ascension name is Haru. So,
I don't even know my ascension shit.
Yeah.
I ain't got there yet.
And you know, there's levels to
I still
this
got
because
my
I'm like
slave
Catholic
name.
people have like Catholic slave names.
I still got my slave name.
Catholic people have like angel names, and I only recently found out like my Catholic friends have angel names. So I'm like, that's normal in cultures and things to have other names outside of what your parents give you.
yeah, for
You know,
sure.
that's so cool.
Wait, so what's the craziest shit you seen on the trip?
The craziest shit.
Craziest shit. Try to describe it, because I know some shit is probably indescribable.
It is very undescribable. Well, the craziest shit that I've seen. One time I was on a spaceship. It was made out of light, but that's not the craziest shit that I've seen. The craziest shit that I seen was when I met the god Osiris. Like I met Osiris for sure, and it was kind of like random. It was like I was like, all right, I'm bored.
Then it was chilling around the spirit
I was
realm.
chilling. I was like, all right, I'm bored. I'm gonna do some DMT. Boom, boom, boom.
Let me see my spirit bitch
I
up
did
too.
it.
That
Them
nigga was
motherfuckers ripped me out of my body. I'm talking rip me out that bitch. Like, rip me out that motherfucker. And it was like, I swear to God, I was in like an alien hospital.
Shit.
Everything was chrome. Everything was chrome, like the episode of SpongeBob when they went to the Yes! Yes! I swear to God. I was just like that. Everything was
I'm trying
chrome.
to envision it, and this shit sounds scary than a
Bro,
bitch, don't it?
Because it is scary. It is scary. But
Ripped out your body?
Let's talk about it real quick. Chakras, right? Your first chakra is your root chakra.
Right.
And it's blocked by fear.
Right.
So if you have fear, you can't even attempt the test. You can't even attempt the
No
test.
pussy in
because
your blood.
The first,
No hoe.
The first blockage, the very first blockage is fear. So people be like, "Oh, I'm scared of that. Oh, I couldn't do that." Well, congratulations, you failed the test before it even began. And it's like you have no reason. I'm still here. Like I've done all this shit. I've done all this. I'm still here. So it's like it's not gonna kill you. It's only gonna make you stronger. So it's like, but the illusion of fear is what stops everybody from going deeper.
And what do you think? Do you date like spiritual girls? What do you think of the spiritual astrology girlies?
See, don't get me wrong. Like I vibe with them, but it's like, look, I'm trying to take that next step. Y'all not trying to take that next step, and that next step has accountability in it. Like all this spiritual shit is cool, but unless you're being a good person, unless you're being of light, of love and light all the time, unless you're truly being accountable for your actions, it's not gonna affect you.
He said y'all bitches wearing a costume. Y'all putting them crystals and the motherfucking incense and sage in the air for Instagram likes, bitch. You're not really spiritual. You don't love, you a bad friend. You feel me? You still got your
You're a
friend's
bad
clothes in your
person,
closet,
period.
bitch.
No
You're not
lie.
a real spiritual bitch.
No
you
lie.
feel me? You doing shrooms every day, you a crackhead.
No, yeah.
That's what he basically just said. I was just, breaking it down.
Yeah, but if you do shrooms every day, you are a crackhead. I'm sorry, and this coming from the guy that do shrooms.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Like whether it's shrooms or weed or even alcohol, if you're doing anything
yeah, for
every
sure.
single day that's like
People
making
drink.
you like not in the reality and the norm, you're a crackhead.
For sure.
You're a fiend. I
My
always
nigga
say.
said the tarot card hoes is not it.
I met some really cool tarot card.
They
hosts.
cool, but my thing is with them, they act like that shit is permanent. Like
Then
it's
all be,
in stone. Like, oh, you're a Gemini. You act like
I told
this.
this bitch
You're
one
gonna
time
do
about my
this.
situation.
You
And
are-
she was
wait,
like,
what's
let
your
me read your
sign?
cards
I'm
real
a
quick.
Pisces.
Oh, you
Yeah, we
both
both
are
Pisces, yeah. Yeah, we both
Big
musicians.
Pisces.
You know what I'm saying? Big
Yeah,
Pisces.
you know, see, that makes sense because we both Pisces.
That's
both
why you're agreeing with
musicians,
him.
you
You're
know,
like,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah,
And
blah,
he's
blah,
like,
blah.
yeah,
I agree with you too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, we're both men. We both talk to the spiritual bitches, and I can co-sign a lot of the shit. I'm like, I'm not even as deep
sure.
in the spirit world. I ain't even took a trip to the spirit world
So
yet.
how can you tell then?
How
Like,
can
'cause
I
I'm
tell?
like, it's not like you're gonna be hanging out meditating like from day one. Like, can you read people? Like,
I can read.
From
yeah,
first,
it's
like-
obvious
read.
to a certain point.
But like the thing about it is, it's like spirituality I've tried to date women that weren't as spiritual and like try to build them up a little bit. That don't work.
Can't build
I've been
a bitch.
trying to get women that are on my level. That kind of don't work neither. It's like when I try to go that extra step, like look, I can show you. I can show you. All you gotta do is do what I say and have no fear. See,
Bitches
like
be
a
fearing.
lot of women got all this trauma in them, and it's like
Come
that
on,
trauma,
hit the beep, beep, beep. I
it
need that.
stop. Like that.
Ooh.
That
I'm sorry.
trauma
That
stop.
hit a
It's-
special place.
That trauma is like
well, people get into spirituality and God when they're at their lowest.
That's the best.
When you're like at your rock bottom. So I'm like, yeah, that's traumatic as fuck anyway. So of course, when people are like showing me sage and crystals and whatever, I'm like, yeah, you probably have been through some shit.
Yeah.
So
people do
This
the
is my
same
2
thing.
cents.
People do the same thing with Jesus. Like people go to jail, find jailhouse Jesus. People go to rehab and find but that because
and your
God is
feeling
at
with
your
like
lowest.
your feeling with spiritual women is how I feel with like super religious men.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, God saved you. Yeah. I mean, I just want to say I believe in God. I was
too.
raised
I believe
Christian.
in God.
Niggas be using the Bible for
But
pussy.
they are
That's crazy.
They are people who I'm like,
That's
are you
crazy.
really about this shit? You seem
You
like
just
you're
trying-
just saying the shit.
Right.
Niggas be running through the church house.
Swear. So I'm like, obviously, even with spirituality and like everything, there are people who are like, oh, and you can read them.
Oh,
I can tell when someone's like
for
a
sure.
quote unquote fake Christian
sure.
and like a genuinely good person and like
Knowledge of self is the biggest thing, and I feel like when somebody has done the work to get to know themselves, it's obvious, and it's very obvious on people who haven't done the work. That's what I'm saying. Like bitches can bring out all the crystals they want, but if it's obvious you haven't done the work on yourself, before you even get to some spiritual shit, this is all in the physical. So if we can tell all that shit from the physical. All right, we already know you want the spiritual shit, you want some bullshit too.
yeah.
They try to give you advice on shit. I told the bitch my situation. She talking about let me read your cards real quick, bitch.
Do you do card reading?
Nah.
Have you ever had like a psychic palm reading?
I have, and it was accurate. I ain't gonna lie.
You told me it was accurate. I ain't gonna lie.
I've done it.
Wait,
bitch
drop
did
the
know
location.
something.
Where did you go?
I
That
got
bitch did know
a,
something.
I got a
Sorry.
homegirl. I got a homegirl that do it. Well, I would shout out her, but I ain't shouting her out. But yeah, I got a homegirl that do it, and she read me a couple of times, and it was accurate.
Only could mean a couple things.
It was accurate, but it's like it's not the end all be all. You feel me?
And I honestly, with readings and stuff like that, I'm like, you can never really know someone. It doesn't matter how much you want to tap into like spirituality. It's an individual thing. You can never go into someone and like make them do what you want.
Right, for
That's
sure.
my thing around in Nigeria. The religious and the Christianity is so deep, and they're like, oh, they're under a spell, and I'm like, okay, to an extent, I could get it, but I'm like, people are still like, you're still conscious of like what you're doing. You're in control.
I want to say something too. But speaking about that, because how did I get into this? Anyway, the fact that people were even converted into Christianity went through slavery. That thought never went through my mind. I'm like, wait, you trying to tell me the European colonists, like they forced Christianity on our ancestors? I never really thought about that. Like I never really thought that slavery had such an impact on our people. So like when I took this African American studies class, I'm like, wait, you say Jesus is black? Huh?
Yeah.
I never
Jesus
even...
is not a black man.
All I'm saying
Point
is...
blank.
Look,
I mean, sorry. He is...
She from
Wait,
Nigeria,
no,
y'all.
no. Wait.
He's the best
Jesus
parent
is
ever. We
not
got a
white.
Nigerian in the healthcare field and a black spiritual nigga over here. This is the
Jesus
best
is
parent we
not
could
a
have
white
did.
man, I meant to say.
Oh, no,
which we
no.
already know that now.
But when I think about
was
Jesus,
Alexander
I
Hamilton.
think of a white guy.
Whoever the fuck
Yeah.
that nigga was.
When I think of Jesus, I think of the picture that's in my grandma's house.
Yeah.
The with the flowing hair.
That's
blah,
Alexander
blah.
Hamilton for sure.
Yeah,
Or
no,
where the
that's
fuck that nigga?
Cesare Borgia.
Cesare, yeah, whatever
Cesare
his name is.
Borgia.
Some,
That's
they
his
all
name.
look the same.
Hello,
All white people.
European.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody European. That nigga had blush on. That nigga had highlights.
Right,
in his hair.
right.
I said, how you had highlights back then?
Conditioning.
That nigga shit was
mother-
picnicked, photoshopped. I said, how the hell was they doing it back there like that?
So when you were in high school, you were dabbling into like
Burnt bronze.
spirituality.
No,
or was it in your adulthood?
Nothing. I was a complete Christian. I just really never thought outside of what I was supposed to until I realized that there are things outside of that. Like I just thought that, Jesus the white guy, blah blah blah. I never really thought that it was more than that. So when I got to college and I'm in a different state, I'm in a different mindset, I'm in a different mode, and I found out that there was more. I wanted to know all about it.
Everything. Like, tell me everything. Even though knowledge is power, because when you know so much,
Applied
you
knowledge
feel like
is power.
that's the thing. That's why I was telling you when you were like, oh, I bought this $80 book. I'm like, I meet so many people who are like, yeah, I'm going to buy this book, and this book, and this book, and they read it. And I'm still like, you have to put it into action.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It doesn't matter how much you know if you're not
It was like,
actually
cool story, bro.
showing. Right, literally. So that's the biggest thing for me with this religion and spirituality shit, I guess. I forgot what I was going to ask. I was just going to ask you.
Can we talk about mushrooms?
Yeah, we can talk about mushrooms.
Yeah, we was talking about DMT this whole time. Mushrooms.
Yeah.
No, I want to talk about the lions.
Oh, we can talk about the
I want to
lions.
talk about you
We
drumming,
can talk about the lions.
and I want
We
to
can
talk
about the
about.
drumming.
See, she
What
like
you
straight
think
the
about-
PG shit. I want to know about the mushroom.
Well, I know, but
that
that can go on for days. Like you can tap into your spirituality this way.
But all right, let me say this though. Drumming is what catalyzed my first spiritual awakening. Let me tell you this. My first spiritual awakening. Truly spiritual awakening. Not really. Not my first one, but a big one that means a lot to me was when I realized that my heartbeat, like my heart is beating. Your heartbeat is the original drum. Like your heartbeat is the original drum. Like the beat of your heart is what sustains your living. The beat, the rhythm. Like, and when I think about drums, percussion is the first musical instrument ever. Like percussion comes first.
Right.
And the drum comes first. And it's like the beat, like rhythm is actually a part of the universe. Like, and if you ever, it's this thing called the Kabbalion, you ever realize it, but it says that there's a law of rhythm. And rhythm is like your heartbeat beats at a rhythm. And it's like when you're quiet, when you're still, you can hear that heartbeat.
Right. You literally
And
can.
that's your life. That's your life force. Like
Yeah.
your heart beating is your life. So like the heart is the original drum.
Exactly.
And one time I was having a spiritual awakening and my heart was beating and I could hear it and it would sound like a drum, like a ancient,
Boom.
no, like a ancient indigenous like drumming around, like stepping around a fire type shit. Like it was like a drum, and that gave meaning to the whole walking to the beat of your own drum. It's like I'm like, damn. Your heart is the drum. Right. So it's like you're walking to your heart. You're doing the things that make you fulfilled. That's the fucking secret because you're literally walking to the beat of your own drum. And nobody has your drum but you.
Right. And I like the little, like, obviously you have an internal drum, but I'm like, when you're in band, you have the metronome, which is
metronome.
Like, metronome,
Yeah.
which they always, with any instrument, you need that kind of like center.
The rhythm.
Yeah.
You
like,
need that
pocket.
time.
Right. And so, like, you dabbled into that a lot. Music, is that a big thing in, like, your life? I feel like music, people in all cultures can, like, kind of come together because
For
of,
sure.
like, a sound.
For
you know what I mean?
sure.
That's huge.
Yeah, I listen to all types of music. I only listen to real music, though. Like, I need some real, all that, nah. Give me
All
some,
music is good music.
Yeah.
Give me the mumble rap and give me the fucking like
it's a time and place.
Beethoven.
For everything. It's a time. I fuck with Beethoven.
All of it.
We could go Beethoven. We could go niche. We could go Tchaikovsky. We could go to.
We're listening to Frank Ocean on the way here.
You know,
So
we could go everywhere.
Yeah.
We could go anywhere.
yeah.
Man, it's very resourceful. Cause I'm about to say drums, a lot of stuff with his hands, from growing stuff like the shroom business. How long have you been in the business though?
I've been growing shrooms since 2020.
So 4 years.
So 4
okay,
years.
that's
Yeah. And I've learned a lot in that 4 years. But
about shrooms and yourself.
yes, because they go hand in hand. It's like the more I learn about mushrooms and people, we share like we're closer related to mushrooms than a rat is related to a mouse. Let's talk about it.
Hey man, hey,
Let's talk about it.
My fucking mind just got
Let's
fucking
talk about
blown.
Let's talk about it. A rat and a mouse are two different species. Little do we know. We think a rat is a big mouse. No, they're two
Like
different
rodent,
things.
not in the
They're
rodent
two different
family or some
things.
shit. Or
Hello.
okay,
But we share
marsupial or some shit.
more DNA
I know
with the
some shit.
mushroom. Mushrooms were around before plants, like before animals, before everything. Like mushrooms are ancient.
That shit was the Big Bang.
They're ancient. Like mushrooms.
Yeah. There's another fungus and bacteria, which has been around since.
Hello. There could be
That's
no
what
life
made
on
species,
Earth.
yeah.
There could be no life on Earth without mushrooms.
Right,
Like
exactly.
no lie. Like
So what makes you different now after you've gone through all these spiritual awakenings and things like that? Like, how do you feel like you changed?
Let's
since
talk about it.
Perry before then. That's basically, I just want to know the
that-
difference.
I used to be a hothead. I used to be rash. With my emotions anyway. Like it just made me take a step back and like before I do something, I'm really gonna think about it. Like I'm not about to cuss nobody out unless you really deserve it. I'm not gonna cuss you out just because I'm having a bad day or blah blah blah. But it's like the mushrooms, they've really taught me so much. Like it's like I gotta want to cry because like
It's getting emotional on the People Mover podcast.
The
Try to tell y'all.
mushrooms, they
It's real.
can teach you because they can only teach you when you get to your lowest point, and that's what
Yeah.
back to your point earlier. Like when you get to your lowest point, that's when the miracles start happening. Like when you having all these fun trips.
It's a word today, Jesus.
Oh, these fun trips. Oh, I went to the club. I seen some colors. Oh, that's not no real trip. When you have a real trip, when you like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like I'm about to die. I shouldn't have took them shrooms. I shouldn't have never did this. Why did I listen to Perry? Oh my goodness, I shouldn't have did this. But once you tap into your lowest, like it's like a catalyst.
And you don't need to do drugs to feel spiritual. Like, I also wanted to talk a little bit about music, obviously, because I was like, music and like drugs, they can kind of give you the same euphoric feeling. And
Because they're both under the planet Neptune.
What?
We could talk about it. They're both
Right,
under the planet
exactly.
Neptune.
Hey.
No, I
We
agree.
even went to Neptune now.
Neptune is the planet of music, drugs, art. It's all under the planet
all of
Neptune,
it.
which is all
All
about
of it.
spirituality.
Yeah,
But not
Neptune,
everyone,
bitch.
like you said, to get into
for
spirituality,
real
you don't
now.
have to do any recreational. You can do
Niggas ahead of
that,
their time.
you know.
You don't have to look. Let me say that you don't have.
Right.
You don't have to do
And
shrooms
it's
to
actually
be
crazy you shouldn't
spiritual or
jump
none of
into
that.
it either. Yeah,
Hell no, you shouldn't
exactly.
jump into it.
So,
You need to do your research before you do
Right.
anything. Do your research. Just go watch fucking what's his name, Joe Rogan. He got plenty motherfucking shit about mushrooms. Okay, don't listen to all that shit, but listen to the shit about mushrooms.
I'm like,
Man,
well,
shit about
Niggas know
mushrooms,
that
he
shit
know
is
what he
real.
talking
Niggas done
about.
cry for sure.
He know what
Niggas
he
definitely
talking
cry
about.
off of that shit.
You know what he talking
You
about.
gonna cry. Whoever watch, you gonna cry.
I cry every time I do mushrooms.
Hey, you
and
gonna
I'm
cry.
still a man. The
Just-
fuck?
yeah, no, fact.
And
No,
the
fact.
thing about it is,
Real
black
man,
men don't have that space to open up and truly be vulnerable.
You gonna cry.
Like you have to be vulnerable, and like the miracles on the shroom
and it's
trip.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Like
it's
being vulnerable is
uncomfortable.
so awkward. I'm like,
Hell
oh, what the
yeah.
fuck? Like even
It's
in
not-
any
Yes.
experience I have, I'm
Yes,
like, this
you
is
have to-
not.
You have, and then once you're
doesn't
vulnerable with
feel right.
mushrooms, once you're vulnerable with the mushrooms, you can be vulnerable with people. You
Exactly.
can realize that, like, hey, I know this is, like, I know being positive and being all that is kind of corny, but we need this
Sometimes.
positivity. We need this
It's a menace.
positivity. We need this space where we can be vulnerable with each other and truly like voice what our hearts feel. It's like and black men don't have that. So like I think shrooms is a good medium in order to open your heart up to new possibilities that what you know and what you've been taught about being a man and being vulnerable, that shit is harmful for you a lot of the times. Like we can't cry. Oh, we can't
Toxic
tell.
masculinity.
That toxic masculinity. When you take some shrooms, that shit go out the window. They like, nigga, if you want to cry, why aren't you crying?
Right, literally.
Why aren't you
Nigga in the
crying?
mirror calling
You
himself
need
a
to
bitch ass
cry.
nigga.
Like,
Bitch ass nigga.
why are you not
But no.
crying? Like what? Being crying is part of the human experience. That's the first thing you do when you come out your mom. Like,
Amen.
crying is a part of the human experience.
Crying should
Come
be
on, talk
normalized.
about it.
So
Normalize crying. I just
Normalize
cried this
crying.
morning.
You talking about normalized crime?
You know how like somebody cry, you be like, oh, it'd be kind of awkward. Now that I've done shrooms, I'm like, baby, cry.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't even
Cry
know
on
why
my
you crying.
shoulder.
You don't even know why you crying.
Come cry on
sometimes.
my shoulder. Like, what are you talking about? It's okay.
It's a chemical release. You need to do it for sure to put yourself in
Man.
equilibrium. Equilibrium?
Equilibrium.
Equilibrium. Thank you,
It's
American.
Nigerian. Girl, keep talking about. I'm just joking.
Where can we find you, Perry?
Y'all can find me
Haru.
at House of Haru Mycology. At House of Haru Mycology. I got a picture. I don't know if y'all can zoom in, but boom, boom, boom. I got the buffs on the Mario mushroom. That's me.
The buffs on the Mario mushroom
Buff.
is so crazy.
Yeah, you know. Hey, can I talk about the symbology on this bitch real quick?
The
though?
go
I ain't gonna
ahead.
lie.
I ain't
Look,
symbology.
look,
Give us a
you can't
little
really see it.
rundown.
But look, this the Mario mushroom, right? We know it as the Mario mushroom. It's really called Amanita muscaria. That's the real name of the Mario mushroom. And this mushroom has been around in human culture for thousands of years. They have cave drawings with this mushroom on it. So it's like Mario was on his shit. He knew what the fuck he was on.
It wasn't just plumbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
look, Mario knew
It
something.
wasn't just after that
Mario knew
peach.
something.
Nigga, I think it was after that shroom.
But
nigga.
yeah, I got the Mario mushroom with the buffs on it. You feel me? That symbolized Detroit. You feel me?
Man.
That symbolized the spirit of Detroit.
Man.
Because you know, in House of Haru, there's actually a place in Egypt called the House of Haru. You can actually look it up because Haru was a big part of Egypt. So one thing that I'm realizing with House of Haru is I didn't even make this shit. Like this shit has been around. I'm just like appropriating the energy, but like House of Haru is a thing. And then on the back of the thing, I have the Flower of Life, and the Flower of Life is y'all can fact check me on this. It may be the oldest symbol in human history. The Flower of Life.
We learned this shit on the People
Flower
Mover
of Life.
podcast today.
It may
education.
This may be, but it was in the tomb of Osiris. Like it was literally chemically burned in the
Out here, my nigga, dog.
the tomb of Osiris, like the Flower of Life, and the Flower of Life. That's a whole nother.
They not even hearing that.
You can find us. Obviously, we have chat for days. We can find us at the People Mover Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
Twitter, everywhere. It's People Mover Pod.
and then Malcolm.
Yeah, it's at Malcolm Elliott Music, MalcolmElliottMusic.com. You can find everything there. And then Miracle, where can we find you?
Me? All right, America.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Did you?
Okay, I said it already. House of Haru Mycology. House of Haru Mycology, all one word.
Yeah.
Yeah, the People Mover Podcast. Okay, we're done.
Okay, so
Episode 2 is done.